Good evening, everyone. I think we might have started the live stream. Um, and yeah, it's wonderful to be with you. Really, really lovely to see everyone. I am, thank you. I'm seeing some emojis coming up now on my right-hand side. This is the the launch of the Being Peace fundraising. We'll call it this fundraising year. Of course, this project has been going on for a long time, and it's kind of coming to fruition, but it's starting this evening with a whole host of friends from the Plum Village community, monastic community. We've got lay friends from the UK Sangha, and we also have some international friends of Plum Village as well, who are going to be joining us for a whole host of the various things from we've got bedtime story from Kyra Jewel, we've got a story about cooking and activism from Lama Rod Owens, we've got a story of sitting and meditating with Ty from Joan Halifax. Yeah, it's quite a mixture of things, and we're really so grateful for all the people that have been involved in putting this together. So thank you for all of that. We've got three presenters this evening. We've got Melissa James, we've got Rehena Harilall and Monica Max West. I'm going to be here as a kind of technical support in the background, and we also I'll also be dropping in with my guitar to fill any spaces that might appear in the schedule. We're doing this live, we've not done it before, so we're just going to kind of do our best to pull everything together, and we appreciate all your hearts and your thumbs up and your prayer hands to kind of help us along the way. So yeah, we really appreciate that. I'm going to sing you a song before we get going, and before Melissa comes along to be our first presenter and bring in our first guests, who I believe will be Sister Chan Kong and Sister Chan Duc, who are coming in from Plum Village. So we thank them very much. So here we go. A song you can sing along to. You heard this maybe if you watched the we did a Facebook and live this afternoon. It's a call and response. Oh, when I rise, let me rise like a bird joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall like a leaf gracefully. And we're going to walk like cats and sit like mountains. Oh, when I walk, let me walk like a cat peacefully. And when I sit, let me sit like a mountain solidly. Then we go up and down, And when I work, let me work like a bee wholeheartedly. And when I rest, let me rest like a river at the sea. And when I rise, let me rise like a bird joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall like a leaf gracefully. When I Rise. Poem by Wendell Berry, a song in the Plum Village Songbook. I'm sure many of you have sung it before. So welcome, and how beautiful it is to be with so many of you, this wonderful, beautiful community of Plum Village UK and international friends. I see that you'll see 4 screens up. So we've got Dom. This is Dom Being Peace. Dom is going to be our chat box moderator. So the chat box is open and it's here for your thoughts and your well wishes and anything you want to say about any of the content this evening. You're welcome to put things in there. We've got our presenters. Melissa is here at the moment. I think she's just getting herself set up. She's down doing a workshop in Brighton this evening and has agreed to join us while she can, until I think just after 7. And then we've got Kasia, who's got the logo up for this evening, and Kasia is dealing with our live streaming. So if you're not able to be on Zoom, you might be watching this over on Facebook or YouTube. And for anyone who's reading this and for any reason is not able to listen to the audio or would just rather read it, there's captions there and they can do that over there. So I'm going to check whether Melissa is wanting to be ready to turn on the camera, because we're going to have a song by Melissa before we go over to Plum Village. And there we are, Melissa. Hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you.
Hello.
Oh, it's so brilliant that you're here. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I was just telling everyone that you're down in Brighton at the moment.
I am. I'm down in Brighton at the Brighton Buddhist Centre, about to run my mind, body and sacred song session. And I had been having discussions with Joe about, is there a way that maybe the people who come along, we can sing a song and offer it as part of this wonderful event that is being held, that I don't feel like I can be fully part of, unfortunately, but it perhaps just seemed all a little bit too complicated. So I'm glad to just be here for the short time that I am here.
Wonderful.
So welcome to everybody who is present with us and who's joining. It's such a pleasure for me to be here, and such a pleasure to know that you are here as well. Thank you for being here. So this is the Being Peace Practice Centre fundraising launch, and I'm Melissa, as we've said, Melissa James, and I'll be your presenter for just around 20 minutes while I'm here in Brighton and before I start my session. It is panel sharing, so you'll be able to see us, and we know you are there when we look at all the participant numbers. Some of you will be coming onto the panel later on, of course, and looking forward to that. Well, others will be. I unfortunately won't be here. We have Kasia here doing the live streaming to YouTube and to Instagram. So hello to our YouTube and Instagram watchers as well. Dom is doing chat box moderation. And of course, Joe has just performed for you beautifully and is also doing the tech support, bringing in the guests and doing the bells, sounding the bells, and giving us his offering of his voice and his guitar around that. So any words from you at the moment, Joe?
Think I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to say, if we've got quite a lot of guests that have come in that are going to be live this evening, and if you didn't get the instruction already, a few minutes before you're due, if you could just do the raise the hand icon, which is down in reactions, that'll put you to the top of the list, and we can then just usher you to the stage. Thanks so much, Melissa.
Wonderful. So in this first half hour, we will be live in Plum Village with Sister Chan Kong, the first fully ordained monastic disciple of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, or affectionately known as Ty, and the director of Ty's humanitarian projects since the 1960s, and Sister Chan Duc, who has been a disciple of Ty since 1986, as we'll be watching our Being Peace Practice Centre fundraiser film, the fundraising film that's been created with some words from Teri, who's a part of the steering group as well. But before all of that, I'm going to give my little offering before I have to venture fully into the space that I'm here in Brighton at the Buddhist Centre, and just offer a little song. So this song, I don't know, it just seemed to be fitting. This is a song of mine that I wrote in 2020, probably one of the first songs that I wrote during the lockdown to try and give somebody who was in a difficult space in her life at the time a bit of comfort, because she loves the sound of Om and chanting Om. So feel free to really immerse yourself in it, and perhaps where Om is repeated, which it is in certain places, feel free to join along if you wish to. Joe, can you hear that okay?
Yeah, it's coming through fine.
Thank you. Om, the power of beauty of bestow on you peace, 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 peace. Om, the joy of Om, then open your heart, bringing tranquility to you. Oh, the bliss of all, the love of all, bringing connectivity. Oh, the earth sound is all vibration of all, be cradled and healed deeply. Om. Sing with me here. Om. Om. Then again. Om. 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 Beauty of all, power of all, bestow on you peace, 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 peace.
Wow, Melissa, can you see all the emojis coming up on your screen there?
Oh, thank you for the love. It's really felt. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you for having me as part of this really wonderful event. I'm so glad to be able to be part of it just for this short amount of time, and to be with you, celebrating and trying to raise money for such a wonderful initiative. So thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Melissa. We are just waiting for Sister Chan Kong to come through to the panelist view. that should be happening in a few moments, I think. But maybe in the meantime, the people that are joining us, I mean, wow, there's quite a few, 222. It'd be lovely to know where you're joining us from. So if you just want to like put your location in the chat box, that'd be great to know.
Yeah. Wales, Scotland, Greater Manchester, Norwich, Normandy, Somerset. I can't keep up. London, East Sussex, Shetlands, Hampshire, Farringdon. Wow. Ayrshire, Portugal, Minnesota, Pembrokeshire.
I am Sister Chan Duc, true emptiness. Do you hear me well? Do you hear me well?
Hello, it's Sister Chan Kong. So lovely to see you. Thank you. Melissa, are you able to see Sister Chan Kong there on the screen?
I am, yes. Yes. Hello. Oh, actually, no.
I offered to you a short song about
thank you.
A kind of summary of the Sutra on Diamond. The Sutra on Diamond that Teacher Tan tried to put into a short poem, and I put into music and I sing for you. Châu báu chất đầy thế giới, tôi đem tặng bạn sáng nay. I see that the universe is full of treasure. I would like to offer to you some treasure. Một vóc kim cương sáng chói, long lanh suốt cả đêm ngày. Your eyes are two jewels. Do you agree to exchange your eyes with two jewels? No. Châu báu chất đầy thế giới, tôi đem tặng bạn sáng nay. Một vóc kim cương sáng chói, long lanh suốt cả đêm ngày. Mỗi phút một viên ngọc quý, tôm thâu đất nước trời mây. Every minute that you are alive are more precious than any jewel. It contains the whole universe of beauty, of goodness, of greatness. Chỉ cần một hơi thở nhẹ là bao phép là hiện bày. You only need to remember that your eyes are more precious than any jewel, that your lungs can breathe in and breathe out fully, are more precious than any jewel. Mỗi phút một viên ngọc quý, tôm thâu đất nước trời mây. Chỉ cần một hơi thở nhẹ là bao phép là hiện bày. Every minute that you are alive is more precious than any jewel of the universe. Chim hót thông reo hoa nở, trời xanh mây trắng là đây. Ánh mắt thương yêu sáng tỏ, nụ cười ý thức đông đầy. Hỡi người giàu sang bậc nhất, tha phương câu thực xưa nay. Hãy thôi làm thân cùng từ, về đi tiếp nhận gia tài. You are the richest person on earth. Please don't behave like a poor beggar. You can smell all the beautiful smell. You can breathe. You can sing. You can breathe in fully your lungs. Breathe out. Your two hands are more precious than any diamond. Your two legs, your 2 feet. You can walk calmly, happily, are more precious than any diamond. Hỡi người giàu sang bậc nhất, you who are the wealthiest person on earth, tha phương câu thực xưa nay, hãy thôi làm thân cùng từ, về đi tiếp nhặt gia tài. You who are the wealthiest person on earth, please don't behave like a poor beggar of happiness. Hãy dâng cho nhau hạnh phúc và an trú phút giây này. Hãy buông thả dòng sầu khổ, về nâng sự sống trong cả tay. Please behave like a poor, don't behave like a poor beggar of happiness. You are the happiest person on earth. Châu báu chất đầy thế giới, tôi đem tặng bạn sáng nay một vòng kim cương sáng chói, long lanh suốt cả đêm ngày. You can hear the singing of the bird. You can breathe in and breathe out. You can smell all the wonderful smell of the universe. Now I want to share another song, because in fact the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha remind you that you are the wealthiest person on earth. Don't behave like a poor beggar of happiness. But I also like to sing the song that I like to sing, and people like also that song, The Smile. You like I sing it in English or in French?
You can choose, Sister Chankon.
Yeah.
I think most of our participants will be English, I think, but yeah, please choose. One more song will be lovely.
I smile to the star that still shine in the sky, to the sun that slowly guides us out of the night, to the day that begins, to the enchanting bird. I smile to the world, and the world smiles to me. I smile to the child that crosses my way. I remember also on those who are hungry, those who live in misery all over the planet, who have to face the war, who lost their mother. If sometime my smile is moistened by tears, when I see the great pain that spread over the world, I shall still be smiling with tears in my eyes, smiling to life, smiling to death. And one day will come when it is bitterly cold, when even my footsteps will not leave any mark. The never-ending current of life's energy will carry me along, and I will not look back. The fear will no longer block my way. My heart finally opens very wide. Then I will become the smile of the earth, of the flower, of the rain, of the sun and the wind. And one day, perhaps, in a very small child, I will open my eyes to the wonders of life, and a little more loving, and a little more smiling, I will continue this wonderful way. I smile to the star that still shine in the sky, to the sun that slowly guides us out of the night, to the day that begins, to the enchanting burden. I smile to the sun, and the sun smiles to me. I smile. I remember also on those who are hungry, those who live in misery all over the planet, who have to face the war, who lost their mother. If sometime my smile is moistened by tears, when I see the great pain that spread over the world, I shall still be smiling with tears in my eyes, smiling to life, smiling to death. And one day will come when it is bitterly cold, when even my footsteps will not leave any mark. The never-ending current of life's energy will carry me along, and I will not look back. The fear will no longer block my way. My heart finally is open, very wide. Then I will become the smile of the earth, of the flower, of the rain, of the sun and the rain. And one day, perhaps, in a very small child, I will open my eyes to the wonders of life, and a little more smiling, a little more smiling, I will continue this wonderful way. And one day will come when it is bitterly cold, when even my footsteps will not leave any mark. The never-ending current of life's energy will carry me along, and I will not look back. The fear will no longer block my way. My heart finally opens very wide. Then a little more smiling and a little more loving, I will continue this wonderful way.
Dear Sister Chan Kong, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of our 232 guests to say thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this evening. It's lovely. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I see that we also have very honoured to also have Sister Chan Duc has joined us on the panel. So I wonder if you'd like to take a few minutes just to offer a few words, Sister Chan Duc. That would be lovely. Thank you also for joining us, and we'll leave you to rest, Sister Chan Kong. Thank you again. I think we can hear you okay, Sister Chan Duc, if you want to try speaking there.
Unmute myself.
Yeah, we've got you.
Okay. Okay, good. So good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be in France, but also to be in the UK at the same time. Today we had a day of mindfulness in Plum Village. There must have been hundreds of people, and some of them were from the UK. But it's not easy for everybody to come all the way from the UK for a day of mindfulness, or for even longer. So that is why in 1997, Thich Nhat Hanh when he was in England leading a retreat, suggested that we have a center in England. And that center, I named it. It's very important to have a name. And the name was Being Peace. That is a wonderful name. And we all want to be peace. We all have the capacity to be peace. We know that when there is peace in ourselves, then there is also peace in the world. But in order to really develop our capacity to be peace, we need each other. We need our community, which we call the Sangha. And the community needs a place to come together, to recharge our batteries. Because as we said, we cannot all come all the way to Plum Village. So that is what the function that the Being Peace Center will serve, a place where we can come together to learn to be peace. We all have that capacity, but somehow by our daily life, by the way our society is organized, that capacity to be peace is sometimes hidden, and we need to find ways to uncover it. And when we come together and we spend a weekend together, we spend a week together, walking in mindfulness, walking peacefully around our center, sitting together in mindfulness, eating together in mindfulness, that peace inside of us begins to be uncovered. And then we have peace to offer to our family and peace to offer to our world. And although our teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, was a Buddhist monk and was raised as a Buddhist monk and was a scholar of Buddhist scriptures, he was very open. And he also studied deeply the scriptures of other spiritual traditions. And that is why Being Peace Center, Plum Village Center is really non-sectarian. We welcome everybody, whatever their spiritual path is. And when we have a ceremony to receive the 5 mindfulness trainings, that is our way of life in Plum Village. Many people receive them who don't consider they are Buddhist. Maybe they are Christian, and they will take that practice back into their lives, because Thai introduced the practice of double belonging. So that is something that the Being Peace Center will offer. And we don't need so many material comforts. Our friends who come, and we permanent residents in Plum Village, we have a bed, and often we share our room, and we eat very simple vegan food. So Being Peace Center, the main thing that it offers is what we now call our siblinghood. We used to call our fraternity, our brotherhood, our sisterhood. That is the most precious thing. There is nothing more precious than siblinghood, fraternity. And that is why people want to come and want to have a Being Peace Center where they can really enjoy siblinghood, and grow in that, and then take it back to their own environment, to their family, to their community, to their workplace, and especially the young people. Being Peace Center wants to offer hope to the younger generation, so that together we can learn how to face the climate crisis, especially when we're young, when we look ahead, and sometimes we feel despair, and that is why we need a place to come to where we can rekindle our hope and do that together as a community.
Thank you so much, Sister Chan Duc. It's so touching to have your word of support for us. Yeah, it's really wonderful. We made we have a beautiful film if you'd like to see it. That's kind of introducing the Being Peace Practice Center campaign, which we'd love to share. So yeah, I think we can say thank you, and we wish you a good night and a good rest. And yeah, thank you again so much for being with us. Wow, I'm very touched indeed to be in the presence of such Plum Village legends, if I'm allowed to use that expression. It's really touching. And I've taken over as presenter for the next 20 minutes while Melissa started her workshop. And we'd like to share with you this beautiful film. We thank Josh Donaldson at Conscious Film Co. for this, and all the people that have participated. And following this film, we'll be hearing from Teri West, who's part of the steering team for the Being Peace Practice Center fundraiser. For the center, and so we'll have a little watch of this film now. So excuse me while I just share my screen. You might see a few faces that you recognize.
Hello, we're Plum Village UK, the growing network of people in the Plum Village tradition of engaged Buddhism, founded by Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, or Thai. We're fundraising for our most ambitious project to date to create a new mindfulness centre here in the UK, already named the Being Peace Practice Centre. Our vision is to create a place of refuge located in the countryside, yet close enough to an urban centre, allowing us to engage in local outreach work. The centre will offer a year-round programme of retreats and events for all individuals, families and groups to come and practice mindfulness while living, working and fostering togetherness as a community and enjoying the physical and mental health benefits of time spent in a natural environment.
I remember when I first came to the Plum Village group, the young adults group, it's called Wake Up, and I was getting interested in meditation and mindfulness, and I was finding that it was something that was really supporting my mental health in many ways.
The practice is for everyone who want to practice mindfulness and practice compassion on themselves, also to give this compassion now to others.
We're living through extremely challenging times amidst various wars, social and ecological breakdown, and growing mental and physical health problems. As individuals, many experience loneliness, estranged from a sense of community. Disconnection from ourselves, others, and the natural world has led us to a precipice, and we need real medicine to remedy these problems. Thich Nhat Hanh had a dream, along with Martin Luther King, who nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize, to bring the practice of mindfulness to the West. He began with a community in the south of France, naming it Plum Village, creating a healthy, nourishing environment where people could come and learn the art of mindful living. There are now Plum Village monasteries in the United States, Australia and Thailand. But to realise Thai's vision of a centre in the UK, we need crucial financial support. We need a property with land and potential for development to accommodate large groups and families, including the potential for a regenerative agricultural farm similar to that of Plum Village's Happy Farm. You can support in any of the following ways: by making regular small or large donations, by making a one-off donation, by including us in your will, by offering a friendly loan, by engaging in fundraising for us, or by introducing us to other potential investors.
We need more mindfulness, we need more peace, because the world is so fragmented, life is so difficult for all the reasons we know, so we definitely need more centers and more places where people can just reconnect with themselves and also take time to reflect and to go within.
Can you help us turn Thich Nhat Hanh's dream into a reality? Together, we can create a lasting legacy for future generations. Get in touch today.
There we go. Beautiful film. And we have someone from the steering group here. Many of you will know the beloved Teri West, who's joining us for a few minutes to tell us about the campaign.
Dear respected Thai, dear beloved community, thank you for calling me beloved, Joe. I don't think I've ever been called beloved before. So I just want to say on behalf of the steering group, and they are all here with me because we've been on a journey together for quite a long time now, along with so many other people. And so firstly, thank you for everybody that's here this evening and who's given so generously their recordings and their time to sing and play. This is so wonderful. But along, ever since, Sister Annabelle gave the date. I wasn't going to give the date, 1997 or when 1997. So some of us have been on that journey all that time, building this centre in our hearts and minds. And it now seems as though we can actually see a time when we will be able to actually bring it into being. And so many people, I want to thank all the people who volunteered time, energy, their skills, too many to name. Some of them are helping the steering group out now in the working groups. Some people are poised, ready to get dug into gardening and painting and decorating and that kind of thing. And even people who filled in a survey a while ago. We felt it was important to bring the Sangha along with us and get Sangha eyes on what we were proposing. And that was so wonderful to get so many responses and so much affirmation that we were on the right path. We couldn't have done it. We couldn't have got here where we are today without you, the Sangha, and even the wider community. We have somebody in Vietnam helping us with marketing. We have somebody in Spain helping us design. It's just wonderful to think of this wide group of people that are all walking along with us. And the reason I have confidence in this event and this launch of a year of fundraising is because the time is right now. We have a huge number more people joining our community, and the times they are mean that if we ever needed a centre, a refuge, a place to call our home in the UK, our sister Annabelle so beautifully described what it would be doing, then now is the time when we really need it. And we do have the resources now to actually start looking for a property with your help, I wanted to say so much more, but we've kind of gone on. Time is running away with us. But Joe, if I could have 2 more minutes, because while I was thinking about what to say this evening, a poem dropped into my email box, which is so relevant about this, the way this project has revived and stalled and jumped over hurdles and traveled along in people's hearts and minds for so many years. This poem that's just been written by Simon Armitage seems to echo that journey so well. It's about a plum tree as well. It's called Plum Tree Among the Skyscrapers. She's traveled for years through tangled forests and formal gardens, edged along hedgerows, set up her stall on tenanted farms and then moved on, restless, empty-handed sometimes with fruit in her arms. She's hopscotched through graveyards and parks, settled down in allotments, clung to a church roof by a toe. She's pitched camp on verges and hard shoulders, stumbled on threadbare moors above the tree line and slummed it on wasteland, but dug in on steep hillsides and rough ground. She was Queen of the May on a roundabout once in a roundabout way. She's piggybacked across trading estates, hitched in a missel thrush beak, drifted with thistledown. She's thumbed a lift into town. And now here she is in a cracked slab, in a city square, in a square mile, mirrored by glass and steel, dwarfed by money and fancy talk. Hand-me-down brush, pre-loved broom, to the paid-by-the-minute suits and umbrellas and lunchtime shoppers. She's a poor Cinderella, rootling about in a potting compost of burger boxes and popped poppers. In that world, orchard and orphan are one and the same. But she's here to stay, plumb in the middle. And today she's fizzing with light and colour, outshining the smug sculptures and blubbering fountains. Scented and powdered, she's staging a one-tree show with high-vis blossoms and lip gloss petals. She'll season the pavements and polished stones with something like snow.
Thank you so much, beloved Teri, for offering us your words. And yeah, we'll just say thank you again. And I'm going to wish you enjoy the rest of the evening. And I'm going to bring forward for our first conversation. We have 3 conversations during this evening from regional Sangha members. As you know, Plum Village is the Sangha is wide and beautiful right across the country, UK and Ireland. And yeah, we have Tyna with us, who we're going to have a short conversation with. It's going to be out from our first hour. You might have expected to talk to Melissa, Tyna, but you're going to be chatting to me. So I'm going to bring you onto the there we are. Brilliant, wonderful. So Tyna, so nice to be with you. I'm going to try and pronounce your surname, and please correct me. Correction is good.
You don't have to.
Kramal is Olisova.
Yeah. My name is Gina, or Kristina Kramolishova. I'm originally from Czech Republic. This is why the name is like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And can you tell us where you're coming into us from this evening?
Yeah, at the moment I'm living in Ambleside in Lake District in North England. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Tyna.
Yeah.
I wanted to just initially ask if you wouldn't mind sharing your story of coming to the Plum Village and the practice. Yeah, that'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah, it was actually quite a long story. I first time heard about Thich Nhat Hanh when I was living in Czechia, and I couldn't speak English. And it was after my divorce, so I choose to go a little bit spiritually. And I already have a sister in England, so I moved to England to learn English. And in 2017, I first came to Plum Village for a short retreat, but I know I would like to go back. And from 2019, I came on spring retreat and for 2 weeks, and I asked, hey, I would like to be volunteering, and I said, okay, come on to autumn, but I had already time in my life, so I came again in summer.
Okay.
And I was there 6 months, and after from 2019 I was like stay in Plum Village, like volunteering. And as well, the pandemic came, so it was a very special time. There was no guest, and it was there just few of us, the lay friends with the monastic Sangha, and it was very, very deep time and very nice time to practice. It was amazing.
Yeah. Wonderful. And you said you're in Ambleside. For people that aren't sure where that is, that's the kind of Lake District area of
Yes,
the country.
it's
and you're part of these, is it the Still Waters Sangha there?
Yes, there is, we have a little Sangha here, and actually after pandemic we start actually do the meeting in person. At the moment we are meeting in 2 different locations. Here is in Ambleside, and the second group is Cockermount Sangha, and we're meeting as well online, and we reciting 5 mindfulness trainings online. It's quite, we are just few of us, but it's like quite a vital Sangha.
Yeah. Would you say a little bit about how the practice has affected your life? It sounded like you had a very deep experience there during in Plum Village, and I guess leading on from that to Sangha life in the UK.
Yeah, I would say this was a very strong experience being practicing for me. Yeah, I'm also like person with transgender experience, so for me the practice is something which I needed, like for myself. It's the way how make me feel alive. And to come to Plum Village, I didn't felt like I've been healing. I was like, I need healings, and this was like this journey to self-acceptance and peace, and like experience friendship, experience the collective energy of Sangha. This is something I in the past I was mostly practicing by my own, and came to Plum Village. It was a very strong experience of collective energy, and somehow flow. Somehow flow with the Sangha and with the group, and it was a very strong experience.
Yeah, thank you. And I know you've been active in the Rainbow Sangha as well in the UK, and this is a growing Sangha for us in the UK, which I think is such a wonderful thing. And yeah, would you tell us a little bit about your experiences of that? And I just want to bring your attention to all the hearts that are rising up above with your picture.
Thank you very much. It's very lovely to see it. Yeah, I need to say, I was most probably part of the Rainbow Sangha, which was in France, in the Plum Village. I attending just time to time here in UK Rainbow groups, and as well keep the connections online with the Sanghas, not just in UK. So it's like whole network.
Yeah. And
yeah, I remember the first moment when I attending the Rainbow group, and this was in Plum Village. I actually didn't know it. There is some twist circle, and this was a moment of, it's like kind of feel of safety, like meeting people which to whom I not have to explain everything, and they will me understand. So for me, like to be part of this, have this connection to Rainbow Sangha is like very nourishing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Tina. It's lovely to speak to you. The program is rolling on, and we're going to bring in our next guest. But I just want to say, we can give lots of love with more emojis and comments in the chat box to Tina. So thank you so much for being here, being present, and And I hope you have a good time with the monastics. I know they're coming over to Ambleside in the summer as part of their tour. So thank you for willing to be here with us. Okay.
Thank you for having me there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tina. We're going to move on actually now. We're going to go a bit further north and a bit further over to the east, over to Tyneside. And we're going to bring in Christa Awad, who's going to tell us a little bit about her experience of being part of the Sangha. Christa is from Syria. And here's Christa now. Hi, Christa.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, so good to see you. Yeah, I can hear you very, very well. Yeah, and so Christa is a part of the Northern Lotus Sangha up in Newcastle, and yeah, wanted to join us. We invited her to join us to tell us a little bit about her experiences of coming to the Sangha. And Christa's also a wonderful singer, and we have a recorded song we're going to share, and Christa's going to share a little bit about that. So Christa, over to you. Thanks again. Good to see you.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Very thrilled and honored. Thank you for having me. And the idea of having a practice center here in the UK is really exciting as well. So yeah, so I'm Christa. I'm part of the Northern Lotus Sangha in Newcastle. I'm originally from Syria. I moved to the UK about 10 years ago now. So when I moved to the UK, I had lots of pain to deal with, and I struggled for a few years, and I was kind of on a journey, trying different things, came into mindfulness, and then I came across Thai in Plum Village about maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, and since then, it's just been an ever-present source of peace, inspiration, strength, and healing, really. So I kind of wrote a little poem about that, that I would love to share with all of you. I hope it resonates. So here it goes. I used to feel lonely, surrounded by an army of people. I used to think it was poetic, romantic, being the ever-lone eagle. I would often suffer, cry, and think it was my destiny, my way, my thing. Sometimes it was bittersweet, diving deep and deep. Other times it was merrily torture, pain, paralysis, a big dark monster. Often I would feel myself drowning in despair, not seen, not heard, despite all those who were there. I would lose the will to live, to carry on. I would picture the moment I could rest when I am gone. For years and years, I tried to understand my pain, to think my way out of it, analyze and blame. Just as I was about to give up, I got it. It came to me. Deep, deep, I found her, that little child in me. Very afraid, lonely, confused and sad. She was hurt with no one to guide her. She had to cope and adapt. All I had to do is see her and give her a big hug. I am here now. You're seen, loved, with no conditions. You are enough. You are beautiful and full of vision. Suddenly, my so-called personality began to crumble. Gradually, the walls I'd built were no longer a relevant bundle. I could keep what I wanted and rebuild the rest. I could finally be happy. I didn't need to be the best. Over time, I started to see an ultimate truth, the reality of our existence, where we come from and what we choose. We are all interdependent, inter-are, and we're inter-be. I am not at all lonely, and I could never be. I am the sky, the stars, the rain, and the sea. The trees work hard every day to give me air to breathe. The sun is still shining to allow all life beneath. All the fundamental forces are precisely right. We're made of particles baked in stars, ancient and bright. I am a continuation of a million survivors. Never alone, they live through me in my laughters. If I live, they do. If I heal them too. And when I'm gone, I will continue through those who remain. I will aspire to be loving them. Compassion, a peaceful grain.
Wow, thank you so much, Christa. That's so moving. Can you see all the little images coming up there?
Thank you.
You're receiving about 200 hearts at the moment. Hope you can feel that.
I do, thank you.
Something else I wanted to, we invited you to do was that we're aware that you're part of the Plum Village app. You've got some of your songs on there, you're a singer, and you have a YouTube channel. Would you care to share a little bit about that? And we're hoping to get you some more subscribers here this evening.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a very modest YouTube channel with very basic home equipment, but it was inspired my little boy. He's 5 now, but I've always wanted to kind of create this channel with lullabies for kids, but also for adults, like to just relax and feel some joy and peace, with some like nature videos or calming simple videos. And there's a song there that I wrote inspired by the Sangha and the lovely Plum Village friends. Yeah, it'd be lovely if we can share it. It's called Together. I hope you enjoy it.
Here it comes. Thank you so much, Christa.
Thank you.
Get this right. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
When the day is over, you're feeling alone. Your heart has been playing the same old sad song. Think of me, I think of you. Think of us and all of those walking the journey, a river that flows. When you wake up in the morning, not ready to go, and the weight of the world weighing on you. Think of us, take a breath, think of them and all of those walking the journey, a river that flows. Think of me, I'll think of you, and all of us together on the same path. Please don't worry, all will be fine. Just let those feelings be there, my dear friend. They'll soon be gone and the sun will shine. If you need me, I'm here to hold your hand. Think of me, I'll think of you, and all of us together on the same path.
I'll mute myself. That sounded beautiful, Christa. Thank you so much. Could you tell us the name of your YouTube channel, please?
Yes, it's called Relax Sleep Lullaby, so it's all like one word. Yeah.
Relax Sleep Lullaby. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. And yeah, wish you a lovely evening there in Tyneside. And yeah, again, thank you so much for sharing so vulnerably with us about the transformational experience of Plum Village, something that I think many people resonate with in different ways. So thank you for opening that up.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christa. Okay, so my duties as presenter are slipping into the background now. I'm going to bring in Rehena Harilall, who is our presenter for the next hour. Are you with us, Rehena? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Oh, wonderful. Good to see you. How are you this evening?
Yeah, it's lovely to see you. I'm so excited to be here. It's such an amazing event and so delightful to be asked. And it's wonderful to see all the number of participants online, on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, and even here. It's so heartwarming. And I must say, I was so touched by what what has been shared in that song and that lullaby. It was so beautiful. So thank you so much. It's amazing how much talent we have in our Sangha, and maybe with this Being Peace, we can center that we have, we can all probably get together and have this annual party every year.
I think Plum Village UK Festival.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to share. I've decided in honor of the event to wear my T-shirt.
Lovely, wonderful. So Rehena, we're gonna listen to a contribution now from the Reverend Roshi Joan Halifax.
Yes, isn't that lovely that she shares a little bit about meeting Ty, and she's so moving because I think we all familiar with Joan Halifax, and for those who don't know her, she's a Zen Buddhist teacher, an ecologist, civil rights activist. But I think mostly known recently for all the work that she's been doing in terms of hospice care as a caregiver. And for me, I think she was quite involved and became more aware of Thich Nhat Hanh during the Vietnam era. Looking at her, one wouldn't actually say that she's that old or oldish. Maybe it shouldn't be calling out age out of this in public, but nevertheless. And then I thought, one thing that really touched me when she actually said, when she talked about, shared that when she heard Thich Nhat Hanh speak, she realized that actually being a social activist, an activist was not separate from being Buddhist or being in contemplation. And I think for many of us, we've come to activism, to come to the tradition, to be engaged Buddhists. So I was really grateful to hear from Joan Halifax. So I'll let you play, Joe, the meditation that we will have.
Yeah, let's let it roll. Thank you so much, Rehena.
I'm Joan Halifax.
I just want to check the sound's okay there for everyone. Great.
And I'm grateful to be here today with you. I was fortunate to encounter Thich Nhat Hanh in the mid-1960s. I was at Columbia University working in the Bureau of Applied Social Research, but also I was deeply involved in the civil rights and the anti-war movement of the 60s. And Thich Nhat Hanh had come to our country, to the United States, in order to ask us to stop bombing his country. And his words, his presence, his mindset, his determination, his peace really meant a lot to me, because I myself was suffering from anger toward my government, my country. "20 years later, I became Thai's formal student. In the interim, I had the opportunity to practice, be a book Buddhist, begin a Zen practice in a particular school of Zen. And then I had the good fortune to go to Plum Village in 1985 and spend time with Thai and Sister Chung Kong. It was at that time I invited Thai to the Ojai Foundation. We were wanting to bring together an exploration of what it was to be a peaceful culture. And I felt that Thich Nhat Hanh had so much to give in this regard. And so he came and talked deeply to us, practiced with us. And yet the irony of that first visit was that being in Southern California in a time of drought, fires were all around us. And I remember one morning going to the yurt where Thai was staying and walking with him slowly toward the teaching tree. It's an enormous oak tree under which we would sit and practice, and people would teach under that tree. And yet the challenge of that moment was so strange, because all around us, fires were burning. Smoke filled the air. Ashes were falling. And the roar of helicopters who were getting water for their tanks to deliver to the burning forests right above our heads, as they were coming from the fields below us on that mountain ridge. And I was holding Thai's hand, and I could feel him quake. And I looked at him, and I saw in his eyes deep discomfort. And he said to me, "I feel as though I'm back in my country and bombs are falling." And we paused and then continued to walk toward the teaching tree, that great oak. And he sat with us and gave a very powerful talk on being peace. So I'd like to share a meditation that I learned from him. I've done a slight modification of it, but it's one that has carried me through all these years. And we can begin this practice just by having our attention rest on the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. And on the next in-breath, internally saying the word in, just allowing your attention to really rest on the inhale, in. And on the exhale, out. And the next inhale, deep. Out breath, slow. Calm. Ease. Smile. Release. Present moment. And on the out breath, only moment. And again, on the in and the out breath, just these simple words, repeating them to yourself. In, out, deep, slow. Calm, ease. Smile. Release. Present moment. Only moment. Thank you for your practice. I feel such gratitude for everything that Ty gave to so many of us. And though he is no longer with us in physical form, his spirit and his great heart and wisdom, I think, will accompany me personally for the rest of my life and be a great friend to thousands. So whatever you can do and we can do to nourish his legacy, may we do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for playing that. I thought that was really, really moving. And I'm glad we had the opportunity to breathe for a few minutes just to remind ourselves why we practice the way we do. And it's so powerful every time we hear everyone share about our beloved teacher. And in every time I hear people share, it's a reminder of how he continues on in the legacy and the work. And yes, so it's really amazing. And for those who just want to point out, for those who've just joined us, there's Dominic in the background, who's one of the members of the steering committee of the Being Peace Center. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask or sharings that you would like to have any ideas around fundraising, please drop him a note. And once again, you could see, we're really grateful for everyone being present and all the contributions that have come up. I think we're having another monastic right now, Joe, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's Sister Luk Nim.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Rehena. Unfortunately, we had the news today that Sister Luk Nim is on a family visit and unable to join us. But we are going to go straight to someone that you know well, who's been
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Lama Rod Owens, who's been part of you also. Would you, please say a few words about Lama Rod?
I think, I'm really sorry, but in the absence of Sister Luk Nim, just want to acknowledge her energy and her presence, and also please watch out for the retreat that she's been organizing around the climate change, around the Earth retreat that's happening later this year. I think it's in June. She's really been instrumental in France with the Guardians of the Earth, which is the equivalent of the French equivalent of the US Earth Holders community. So over to Lama Rod Owens. So Lama Rod Owens, some of us might be familiar with him, but if we're not, he's this renowned, I think he likes to call himself Black and a proud queer Buddhist. So Lama Rod is a personal friend, and I'm always delighted to engage with him. I think he touches some of the key issues of our time to bring it into prominence, and how we can incorporate some of this healing towards our journey on becoming peaceful and developing peaceful, compassionate and just societies. So I'm delighted that he shares about his own encounter with Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's again beautiful to see how many of these prominent Buddhist teachers have been touched by Thich Nhat Hanh. So over to you, Joe, to share a little bit of his sharings.
Hey, this is Lama Rod, and welcome to the Being Peace Fundraiser. I would like to share just a short story about my practice and understanding, and actually early introduction to Thich Nhat Hanh's work. I began my practice in the early 2000s. I was in my early 20s, and I was living in an activist community. And one of the activities of the community that I was living in was to run and organize a meals program for people experiencing houselessness, homelessness, for people living on lower incomes. And one of the things that we did, besides offering a food pantry, was to offer meals every day. So we had different times of the day where people could come and have some food, some freshly prepared food. And I was someone who loved and enjoyed cooking. And when I began my meditation practice during that time, I was really working with a lot of anger. And early in my practice, at the same time, I was also reading, everything that I could get my hands on. And so I started reading a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh's work. And I remember reading his work and his teaching around working with food and the transference of emotional energy into food. And I just remember how those teachings really changed how I understood practicing with food and how to disrupt the transference of negative emotions or negative energy into food. And that felt so liberating for me. And he taught how if we could bring the practice of awareness into working with food, then we could disrupt the ways in which that energy was transferred into food. And that's a teaching that I have held and practiced for over 20 years. And on top of that, I have learned how to cultivate more positive mind frames and mindsets when working with food. And I understand the offering of food to be one of the most important offerings that we can offer others, because it is the offering of nourishment, of sustenance. It is something that I offer from my heart, and Thich Nhat Hanh really taught me how to honor what I feel like is a very sacred commitment to the practice of generosity, right? That I could experience whatever I was experiencing in the moment, be it anger or joy, right? But the practice was simply asking me to be aware, right? And to hold the space for those experiences. And then when I came to begin to prepare and offer food, that I just knew what I was experiencing, right? And that helped me from unconsciously or unintentionally offering this energy into food. And on top of that, this teaching really fit into Thich Nhat Hanh's dedication to justice, to social welfare, right? And living in an activist community that was centered around food justice, it really became one of my earliest introductions to engaged Buddhism. And down the road, that early engagement around socially engaged Buddhism, or through Thich Nhat Hanh's work, really was the foundation of the work that we were able to do around the creation and establishment of Radical Dharma. And I'm so deeply appreciative to the life, the teachings, and the legacy of Thich Nhat Hanh, and his teachings are teachings that I will continue to practice for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Well, thank you, dear Lama Rod. Lama Rod has spent a significant amount of time in the UK now, and it would be really lovely to host him in our new centre in the future, because he sometimes is a little bit of a migrant now in different centres, as we are. So, you know, our commitment to social justice is from our teacher is really inspiring in that way. It just reminds me, Joe, of a quote that Martin Luther King, because I think Teri brought him in, mentioned him earlier, and he talks about religion, and he says that any religion that professes to be concerned about the souls of men, and not about the slums that damn them, the economic conditions that strangle them, and the social conditions that cripple them, is a spiritually moribund religion awaiting burial. So really grateful for our teachings and our teacher for reminding us and keeping our tradition and the teachings alive. I think we have a live panelist now, right? We have someone coming up. Am I missing it? I think it's Anil who we have next.
Yeah, we're supposed to have Anil Sana, who's part of the Coventry Sangha. Anil, if you're around, and we couldn't find you in the attendance list, but please raise your hand and we'll get you to the top of that list. So I think what we'll do, meanwhile, Rehena, we'll jump to the next thing and then come back to Anil. And
Okay.
the next item, if you...
yes.
You know the On Being podcast?
Yes, I think the amazing podcast On Being, Krista Tippett. I think we're all familiar with Krista Tippett, and for those who aren't, she's the American journalist, author, and speaker. She started a podcast called On Being, and she's worked on through various through her journalistic career. She has a degree in divinity from Yale, and so through her work, she came up with firstly a radio public show, and then as a result of her award on the awarded a Medal for Humanities work, she started this podcast. And I think she's been a long time admirer of Thich Nhat Hanh, and if I'm not mistaken, she actually practiced with him and sat with him and interviewed him in 2003. So again, a very gentle and kind recording from Krista. And I think we hear a little bit about a little cut of that interview as well, Joe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So this was recorded in the On Being studios. Well, the intro was, and then the bit that you're going to hear is part of the interview, which you can find online. And that was when Krista visited one of Ty's retreats and sat with him. Yeah. Thanks, Rehena. We'll roll that one. Oh.
Krista Tippett here. I want to send my deepest good wishes for this Being Peace fundraiser, and more importantly to the entire Plum Village community. I am always so grateful for the existence of Plum Village in the world. Of course, Ty left an extraordinary singular presence and lineage in the world that I feel still with us. And I am also continually so amazed at how the people and also the many teachers of the Plum Village communities keep this alive and contribute so much to the peace of minds and hearts and spirits and our sense of collective in this hurting world, this world of so much pain and so much promise. So my deep bow of gratitude, and I am also delighted to share this as you are going to hear some of the conversation I had with the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh Thai many years ago that has always remained one of the most important conversations I ever had. Blessings. I look at the violence that marked the world in the period when you were a young monk. There was the Cold War. I mean, there was a certain kind of violence and hostility. A lot of that has changed, has gone away, a lot of the terrible threats and the sources of the worst fighting. And now in its place we have new kinds of wars and new kinds of enemies. I'd be really interested in, as you look at this period of your lifetime, is there any qualitative difference between the violence that we have now and the violence that we had then? Is there anything like progress happening, or is it the same pattern that repeats itself?
You are right. It's the same patterns, the pattern that repeats itself.
And does that make you despair?
No, because I noticed that are people who are capable of understanding that, who have enough enlightenment. And if only they come together and offer that light and show us the way, there is a chance for transformation and healing.
You know, in a retreat like this, you've gathered around you hundreds of people who are offering themselves up as individuals to this kind of training and mindfulness. And you know, you're not just talking about peace here. There's a sense of peace. But then the cynical question would be, can these individuals make a difference? You know, it seems like we live in an age of collective violence, collective terror, and collective acts of retribution. How do you see the effect of this work that you do?
Well, peace always begins with yourself as an individual. And as an individual, you may help building a community of peace. That's what we try to do. And when your community of a few hundred people knows the practice of peace and brotherhood, and then you can become the refuge for many others who come to you and profit from the practice of peace and brotherhood. And then they will join you. And the community get larger and larger all the time. And the practice of peace and brotherhood will be offered to many other people. That is what is going on.
And you experience that to be
Yes,
happening.
because when I came to the West, I was all alone. And I was aware that I had to build a community. And there was no Buddhist at all at that time. So I worked with non-Buddhist people. And I suggest the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful sitting. And slowly we built a community of practice. We even have communities in the Middle East consisting of Israelis and Palestinians.
Right, I know. So that you were bringing Israelis and Palestinians together at Plum Village.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is your teaching any different if you're speaking to members of Congress, or you're speaking to Hollywood filmmakers, or you're speaking to law enforcement officers?
The practice would be the same, but we need friends to show us how a certain group of people live their life, what kind of suffering and difficulties they encounter in their life, so that we can understand. And after that, only after that, we could offer the appropriate teaching and practice. That is why we continue to learn every day with our practice and sharing.
I want to finish because I know I've taken a lot of your time. I want to ask you, this is from Fragrant Palm Leaves, which I know was a journal you wrote in the 1960s, but this is about Zen. Zen is not merely a system of thought. Zen infuses our whole being with the most pressing question we have. What are your pressing questions at this point in your life?
Pressing question?
Mm-hmm. One of the questions you work through in your practice, just personally, I wonder.
I do not have any question right now. My practice is to live in the here and the now. And it is a great happiness for you to be able to live and to do what you like to live and to do. My practice is centered in the present moment. I know that if you know how to handle the present moment right with our best, and then that is about everything you can do for the future. That is why I'm at peace with myself. That's my practice every day, and that is very nourishing.
And I wonder, living that way and practicing that way, does forgiveness become instinctive? Does there become a point where you no longer react with anger, but immediately become compassionate and forgiving?
When you practice looking at people with the eyes of compassion, that kind of practice will become a good habit. And you are capable of looking at the people in such a way that you can see the suffering, the difficulties. And if you can see, and then compassion will naturally flow from your heart. It's for your sake, and that is for their sake also. If in the Lotus Sutra, there is a wonderful 5-word sentence, looking at living beings with the eyes of compassion. And that brings you happiness, that brings relief into the world. And this practice can be done by every one of us.
Thank you, Joe, for that. Have we managed to track Anil yet?
I don't think we have, unfortunately. Must be some connection difficulties there. We send our love to you, Anil. And when you see this back, then please don't you worry. That's absolutely fine that you couldn't connect.
Absolutely, yeah. But we'll keep him in reserve in case he emerges in due course. Who knows? When we arrive, we arrive.
Right.
It's always nice when we're present, but just while we're waiting, just to introduce Anil. Anil is one of our regional members from Coventry. So he's got a very interesting background and the work that he does from an engagement perspective in education. So when he does arrive, we'll be delighted to chat to him. And if he doesn't, we wanted to showcase his practice and his work in his practice. But now I think we are delighted to have live Sister Tam Moy. Am I correct? Yes, the lovely and beautiful Sister Tam Moy arrives with us. And for those of you who we will see in the UK later this year, or in a few weeks, on the monastic tour. So Sister Samadhi, or Sister Tam Moy, she's originally from the UK. She ordained in 2012, but her relationship to the practice and to Plum Village began many, many, many years ago. before her ordination. And so she's been instrumental in traveling, and she's been, at the last time we had our retreat in Starbridge, she was one of the instrumental people in organizing that from the monastic community. So I think for those of you who know her, she's also been recently engaged in the journey of white awareness, where she's published an article around that in the Plum Village magazine. I think it's the I'm trying to remember what magazine that was, but anyway, it was a really insightful personal journey into what being white and the roots of racism, and something that she is passionate about. So thank you very much, sister, for being here and for organizing the engagement with Sister Gina, Sister Chan Kong, and Sister Annabelle. So thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Sister Tam Moy, lovely to be here. And Sister Mok Fong is with you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a couple of things
Yes,
in this little section, which is we're going to play out the lovely interview that you did with Sister Gina, Sister Tam Moy, and also we have time for a song as well. So which way around would you like to do it? We can go either way.
Okay, well, good evening to all those wonderful UK practitioners out there. We see 230 participants. That's amazing. We're really delighted. I'm sitting here with Sister Mok Fong, my sister, my older sister. Sister Mok Fong that means sister one way. And we're both coming on the UK tour together. We're really excited about coming. We had another meeting about that today. Endless meetings, but we're excited about coming. And we feel very motivated about the Being Peace Center because we realize how important, as it's been said so many times this evening by so many, the Sangha, the importance of the Sangha and building collective energy to come together. We see this all the time in Plum Village, that the moment people step into Plum Village, they come here for a week, then they become part of the Sangha and they don't have to do so much. They're held by the collective energy and so much healing happens. And so the thought that there could be a center in England for the UK practitioners to be able to come for many retreats all year round. Many could be led by monastics. We'd love to come over and to help facilitate retreats, but that would also, of course, be the lay Dharma teachers, and many other kinds of activities would be there. So I think it's just going to be, it's the beginning of a real creative upsurge of practice in the UK. So we're really all for it. And I was thinking, I just want to say one extra thing as well, a big thank you to all those in the UK Sangha who've been holding space for so long, who've been keeping those Sanghas going for 10s, 20s of years during the difficult time of COVID, for so long, through difficult times, through better times. And we have so much gratitude for these elders of the UK Sangha who are holding that space and allowing the new energy to come through and come up as well, so that each of us has a role to play. And we have so much gratitude for your presence, and so that we can come over to the UK and get to travel around and to visit some of these Sanghas. So please sign up for a retreat, for a workshop, for a day of mindfulness, when we're coming near you or coming all around the UK and Ireland tour. So we look forward to meeting you. And now maybe Sister One Way, she would like to offer her song. Would you like to say something?
Sangha. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very grateful to be here tonight because I can feel that you spend so much love for Teri, and I miss him too much. I can feel that love and that gratitude is come from all of you, and I can feel that energy is very strong. Yeah, so thank you for all of that. And maybe I can offer a song, maybe in Vietnamese, but the song is very, maybe all of us know it. Like the song is Let the Buddha Free, Let the Buddha Walk. I don't have to breathe, I don't have to walk. The Buddha is breathing, the Buddha is walking. I enjoy the breathing, I enjoy the walking. The Buddha is the breathing, Buddha is the walking. I am the breathing, I am the walking. There is just the breathing, there is just walking. There is no breather, there is no walker. Peace and joy while breathing. Peace and joy while walking. Peace and joy, there the breather, and peace and joy, the walker. So I will sing in Vietnamese. I hope that you enjoyed this.
We'll sing along on mute in English, Sister One Way.
We're really happy Sister One Way is going to offer something because we felt we really need the Vietnamese connection in today's event. So we're just so happy to have a song from our root tradition. Yeah.
Để buồn thở, để buồn đi mình coi thở, mình đi coi đi, buồn đáng thở, buồn đáng đi mình đừng thở, mình đi đừng đi, buồn lá thở, buồn lá đi mình là mình là đi chỉ có thở, chỉ có đi, không hơi thở, không đi đi đi, ăn khi thở, lạc khi ăn là lạc đi là đi, để buồn thở, để buồn đi mình coi thở, mình đi khỏi đi, buồn đáng thở, buồn đáng đi mình đừng thở, mình đi đừng đi, buồn lá buồn lá đi mình là mình đi là đi, chỉ có thở, chỉ có đi, không hơi thở, không đi đi, ăn khi thở, lạc khi ăn là lạc đi là đi. Ang kita takit ang lahat di lari.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you, Sister One Way. We look forward to singing live with you in a few months. Well, in a few weeks, actually, isn't it? A few weeks. And look at all those amazing hearts, all 225 of them floating across our screen.
Thank you.
So we look forward to having more than 225 people sing with you when you arrive. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Sister, for your beautiful voice and song. And if it's okay with you, Sister Tam Moy, we'll go straight into the interview. Thank you, Joe. And look forward to seeing you soon.
Oops, what happened? This interview to Mrs. Gina. I'm leaping.
Dear beloved Sister Gina, dear beloved community of UK practitioners, welcome to our conversation. I'm really delighted and very, very happy that Sister Gina, who is abbess here in Lower Hamlet, Plum Village, France, I'm so grateful that you have agreed to give some time for the UK Sangha to come and speak. Sent Sister Annabelle to Vermont to start the center over there on the east coast of the States. And Ty also had a mission for you. He sent you to the UK to start a practice center back in 1997. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I think Ty had maybe heard via that I wanted to go to Ireland. So Ty came up with England, close enough to Ireland, right? Yes, so I went to England. I didn't know many members of the English Sangha, and at least not so many in London, maybe around Oxford or Cambridge, somewhere there. And I have a sister who lives in London, so I stayed with her. I went to the Buddhist Society. Yes.
But in fact, it seemed that conditions just weren't sufficient, because I think you stayed about 6 months, but nothing manifested.
No. Also because I didn't quite know how to go about the mission that I had decided to do.
Right. So instead, you decided, well, conditions are not sufficient this time round. So you came back to Plum Village, and Ty made you abbess here instead of being abbess of the English Centre to be. You stayed in that role for 16 years. What guidance would you offer to the UK Sangha so that this time the Being Peace Practice Centre will manifest and blossom? Right?
I would say, first of all, let go of any notion there may be of what it should be like and where it should be.
Letting go of expectations.
Exactly. Because it's the expectations that blind us, that we don't see the opportunities that come our way. So, letting go.
That you were telling me something about one of the ways that all of the practitioners in the UK can feel that this centre will be their home through participating. Could you tell us something about that?
Yes, it is by participating in whatever way that may be that we identify with it, that we start to care for it, that we see the value of it. Yeah, and there is a lot of consumption in the world. We can buy anything, But we need more than just buying things. We need to be able to give and to feel the joy of offering something. And my experience is that is motivating. That is nourishing for ourselves. Yeah? It's not just receiving, but also being able to give. Because by participating actively in the making of it, the coming to be of it, it becomes already our home. It doesn't become a home when it's there, but from the beginning we see it grow. You know? So we establish a relationship with it, and we are part of creating it. And that's the beauty. It's the beauty for those of us who participate individually, and it's the beauty of the group. And with the group going through discussions and not always agreeing and having long discussions and breathing and letting it just wait for a few weeks or so and picking it up again, to go through that process together. Because what is a center, what makes a center, a practice center, is the people. It's not the building.
Those are very wise words. So what would be your advice to start bringing those people together? If a practice center comes from the energy of the people, what would be the best way to start watering the seeds of that energy?
Having a gathering and everybody gives their input. How they see it, to brainstorm together. And anything, whatever comes into your mind, spit it out, put it on the table, you know?
So gathering ideas, everyone's ideas of what would this Being Peace Practice Center look like, and then allowing all those ideas to come together, like cooking a good stew, and then seeing what comes up.
Yes, and there's no idea that is too outrageous or boring or whatever. All ideas are good ideas, because they are part of the ingredients to create, you know, a sense of what we think it may be, and then we're not going to hold on to it. This is the idea right now, and as you go on the path, that idea may change.
Wonderful. Last few words of wisdom for the UK practitioners.
Yes, maybe I will say again, do it, create the Sangha because you like to create the Sangha. Don't think of the outcome as such, but be in the creative process. And you may be surprised at a certain point. Allow yourself to be surprised, and then it will be a lively project. That's a life. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We really wish you luck with your lively project, full of life. Thank you so much, Sister Gina.
My pleasure.
Thank you for that, Jo. I think it's always so inspirational to hear Sister Gina share with such beauty and such gentleness, and talking about gathering of ideas, brainstorming, grassroots level up. I think Teri mentioned early on as to how that was conducted, but good news ahead, because that is clearly part of the embedded way of working on the center. Dominic, who is on the steering group here, has just told us that over the next few weeks and months, there will be opportunities for you to engage, for you to schedule one-to-ones, to share all your wonderful ideas. No idea is too small. So please watch out for those engagement sessions that Sister Gina has just reflected. And before I move on, I'd like to say, as she said, there is no way to Sangha. Sangha is the way. So I think I'll just change that and hopefully move on to talk about Sangha and Sangha building. And we turn now to share a little bit about the bell hooks. So bell hooks has been really inspired for many of us, and for myself in particular. She's been, bell hooks has been an inspiration on my own social justice journey. So I'm really delighted on presenting on this section and introducing the recording from the Bell Hooks Center. And so the bell hooks, as you know, Sade, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name correctly, is one, Shadi Malako, is the director and a scholar at the Bell Hooks Center and a professor of women, gender and sexuality studies. And so she has contributed to a video as well as some input from two of her Bell Hooks colleagues, Adanma Barton and Beth Fegan, both close friends of Bell's. And I think both they share movingly about Bell's affection for Thich Nhat Hanh, something that they've written about, and something I think we may be familiar with how moved and touched Bell Hooks has been with Thich Nhat Hanh. So it would be lovely to hear that sharing now, Jo. Thank you.
I was fortunate enough to sit with Bell almost daily. In the informal quarters of her home, she taught me to enact love as a verb. At the time, I had no love for myself, for others, for the world that must be undone. I was a killjoy and proud of it. She instructed me not to put away my anger and rage, but to foment it, to use its mess as, quote, compost for my garden. This lesson is one she learned from her own spiritual teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. They tried to bury us, the saying goes, not realizing we were seeds. Bell's lessons stay with me in my charge as director of a center in her name at Berea College and director of the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department. It's important that the work that I do personally and professionally not create a Black feminist praxis as additive, right? But to make it constitutive of our project, of our feminist demands for an otherwise. Bell would scold me when I called her a Black feminist. She said, I'm a feminist. With that in mind, we created a curriculum and programming that really moved past this liberal pluralist impulse to add color and mix, but rather we thought the product of feminism as a liberatory praxis, a spiritual praxis, she said, that we must abide by and enact if we are to make all life matter. I sit with Bell's lessons daily. I miss her all the time, and I love her still, always.
Hello, my name is Adanma Onyedike Barton. I'm an associate professor of theater at Berea College in Berea, Kentucky. I was very blessed to call Bell not only my friend, but my mentor and my teacher. And one day, she gave me this book, Living Buddha, Living Christ by Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's still, to this day, one of my favorite books. I'd like to read a passage. Understanding brings forgiveness. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Everyone makes mistakes. If we are mindful, we see that some of our actions in the past have caused others to suffer, and some actions of others have made us suffer. We want to be forgiving. We want to begin anew. You, my brother or sister, have been wronged in the past. I now understand that it was because you were suffering that you did not see clearly. I no longer feel anger towards you. You cannot force yourself to forgive. Only when you understand what has happened can you have compassion for the other person and forgive him or her. That kind of forgiveness is the fruit of awareness. When you are mindful, you can see the many causes that led the other person to make you suffer. And when you see this, forgiveness and release arise naturally. Putting the teachings of Jesus and the Buddha into practice is always helpful. I want to thank Belle for giving me this book. I want to thank Thich Nhat Hanh for the words. And I think we all are lucky to have lived at the time that they both lived. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Fagan, and I am a professor at Berea College in Berea, Kentucky. And I'm lucky enough to have known Bell Hooks. She was my neighbor. She lived just up the street, and I love her and miss her dearly, and am grateful to be part of this tribute to Bell and to Thich Nhat Hanh. I first encountered Bell's work and Thich Nhat Hanh's work when I was in my early 20s. This was back in the 90s when I was an undergraduate. And they both moved me deeply. I remember reading Thich Nhat Hanh's Peace is Every Step again and again, and reading Bell's Teaching to Transgress, which just blew my mind. I was young and rebellious and looking for ways to enliven the classroom, and Bell had all the answers and more. I mean, she had all the good questions too, and taught me to ask those good questions. So from Bell, I got great questions and love and critical thinking, and from Thich Nhat Hanh, I got peace and joy. And I'm thinking about a moment when Bell told me if she could get everyone in the world to read one book, it would be Thich Nhat Hanh's The Art of Living. So I encourage everyone, if you have not yet read this book, and I'm sure you all have, but you know, the whole rest of the world needs to read this book too, according to Bell. I would like to share 3 little poems that I wrote this morning. They're haiku, they're very brief, and they're dedicated to Bell and to Thich Nhat Hanh. 2 cardinals light on budding winter branches, Bell and Thich, earthweb. Bell and Thich, 2 worlds that met and greeted and touched, luminous soul shine. Worlds beyond this world, life beyond this illusion, they spiral on.
I think I'm always so moved every time I hear people share how Thich Nhat Hanh has touched so many lives across so many walks of people from all areas, regions, countries, nationalities, and how so much our practice offers a space for healing. And I'm reminded by what has been shared when we talk about peace, that we cannot have peace without justice, and without justice, and we cannot achieve justice without love. Love cannot be obtained without understanding, and understanding cannot be achieved without seeing someone, listening to them, and being compassionate. So having a beacon like the Being Peace Centre in the UK is a reminder of what it is that we are working to. So it's my time with you as the host with Joe has come to an end. And I thank you for your time and your energy and all your beautiful thoughts and hearts. And before I hand over to Max and Moonbow, I'd like to ask you to do one thing. Over this section, I'd like you to think about a word that has come to your mind during this course of this section that we've just been through. Just one word. And I'm going to invite the bell. And when I invite the bell, can you please and type that into the chat? And when I invite the bell, can you release into the chat the one word that has come to your mind in this time? So just a second to reflect what has emerged for you in this period, and type that in the chat. And I'll invite the bell in 20 seconds. And if we achieve a waterfall, so it just all trickles down, all these words coming up as I say goodbye. So as you're typing, I'm getting ready to invite the bell. Beautiful, freedom, continuation, inspiring, love, fruition. Whoa, I don't think I'm going to I'm going to remember all 210 responses. Love, inspiration, peace, love, potentiality, gratitude, humble, together, remembering. Whoa, beautiful music. Thank connection. What a wonderful waterfall of words. Thank you so much. And I hand it over with heart and with love to my sibling and Moonbow.
Hello, everyone. Woo-hoo-hoo, hello. Yeah. I'm Max, and do you want to introduce yourself? I am the Moonbow. I am here to represent the other than humans who are also disciples of Ty. Hello. So it's a lovely, lovely, beautiful, heartwarming moment, continuing moment to be here tonight with you. I'm Max West, and I'm a student of Ty's and an activist and a feminist and a musician. And I'm really honored to be here. I know we're running a little over time, so I'd just like to welcome you. And Moonbow, what do you have to say? Oh, I am so grateful to be alive. That is what I have to say. Okay, well, do you want to sit down while I play a song? Okay. So I'm just going to play you a song to start this last third of our evening tonight with immense gratitude to everyone who's here, everyone who's done offerings, and hopefully the spirit of generosity that's so core to our practice being awakened in each one of us in terms of what we may be able to offer to this wonderful vision and hope for a UK-based permanent practice center, which would just be so awesome. So I'm going to play you one of my songs called You Are Made of Love. Many of you know it, or some of you know it at least. You are made of stardust from the sky. You are made of smiles and twinkling eyes. You are made of everything you did and do. You are made of me. I am made of you. You are made of soft, sweet breathing as you sleep. You are made of meditation practice so deep. You are made of generosity. You are made of all that you love, 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 love. And I'll never, never, never go. You must always, always, always know, 'cause this precious earth will hold us forever. Yes, our earth will carry us together. You are made of wonder. You are made of truth. You are made of joy. Oh, here's the truth. You are made of rainbows, of sun and of rain. You are made of coming round again. You are made of love, 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 love. You are made of love, 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 love. You are made of love. You are made of love, 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 love. And you are made of love. You are made of love. You are made of love. You are made of love, 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 love. You are made of So, dear friends, we have some more wonderful, wonderful contributors, and thank you for all the amazing hearts. It's like on my screen, it's just like this, like balloons being released, heart-shaped balloons being released into the sky. And our first most magnificent, beloved sibling is Sister True Dedication. Sister is a British sister who ordained in 2008 at the age of 27 and became Dharma teacher in 2016. She studied at Cambridge and worked for the BBC before entering the monastery. In her early years, assisted Thai and Sister Chan Kong in their engaged Buddhist actions. And she's also helped to found the International Wake Up Movement. She has a wonderful TED Talk, which you can watch online, called 3 Questions to Build Resilience and Change the World, which was published in late 2021. And today she contributes her time and energy guiding young monastics and editing Thai's writings, in particular his recent books on Buddhism and ecology. And she also works in external communications using all those skills from BBC days, I would imagine. So please welcome our beloved sister, True Dedication.
Thank you so much, Max. Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to feel connected. I feel I can't see you, so I'm sort of visualizing you or imagining you. And like for every heart, I'm like, oh, that's a person. That's a person joining. And it's been so lovely to sit here. I feel like this is kind of like a cozy fireside chat. And it really reminds me of the atmosphere we had in the Be-ins during the London hubs that we did. And the Sangha would kind of gather and people like never wanted to go home, and different folks would kind of pick up a guitar and sing a song or recite a poem. And so thank you, Joe, for creating such a lovely atmosphere for everyone this evening. I have to be careful because, as some of you know, I speak this kind of international English, so I have to, and I come straight after Max, who had the American lilt, so I'm trying to turn on, like I do for my parents, my best British accent again. So I'm just going to keep looking at Joe, who's going to give me a cue, as if making sure I don't sound like a fool to you all. But I'm just happy to be here and to sort of be in this moment that I felt actually in what Sister Gina was sharing that really touched me deeply. This idea of being part of co-creating and manifesting something together, and that we all bring something to offer, and also the joy of offering time, energy, ideas, creativity, like this evening. And everyone in the Sangha has so much to offer to creating this center. And just even this evening, we feel the talent, the diversity shining through. And how wonderful if we had a house to put this home in. I don't know if some of you have heard this story about a refugee family in New York, and they were staying temporarily in an apartment block. And there's a story about how they were in the lift, and someone saw this family and said to the little girl, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you don't have a home." And the little girl said, "Oh no, we have a home. We just don't have a house to put it in." And I feel like that about the UK Sangha. I feel the web, the sort of tapestry of the Sanghas across the UK, that is our spiritual home. We are already a community. And when we come together to find a house to put our spiritual home in, then there's a real sense of, making that community stronger and already identifying with that home that we're creating. And each one of us, we can fulfill our dream by the energy that we bring to it. And so I really cherish the diversity that we've seen this evening, and how wonderful if it can be an engaged center full of music, full of laughter, full of poetry, companionship, and deep heart sharings. So that is my wish for all of us, that we can have a place where we can find each other. And I think it's also, as Sister Tam Moy said, a place where we just step into that environment and we already feel the collective energy of community, and feel that we can be carried by the Sangha boat. We don't have to kind of paddle too much. So that's my deep wish for us all. And I'm sure that the monastic tour will be a wonderful experience to bring everyone together and to continue to dream and create. So we are deeply grateful for all of your generosity and your contributions in whatever kind form they come. So just to close, I would like to offer a short blessing. I love, as some of you know, in the Plum Village tradition, we have the gathas, the poems that we combine with our daily practices. And there's a collection of Celtic Gaelic poems called the Carmina Gaidelica, which comes from many centuries ago. And I love all the poems in there. And this is a kind of modern translation of a particular Scottish blessing with a slightly Plum Village ending. So I've adapted it a bit. May the blessing of light be on you, light without and light within. May the blessed sunlight shine on you like a great peat fire, so that stranger and friend may come and warm himself at it. And may light shine out of the two eyes of you, like a candle set in the window of a house, bidding the wanderer come in out of the storm. And may the blessing of rain be on you. May it be upon your spirit and wash it fair and clean, and leave there a shining pool where the blue of heaven shines, and sometimes a star. And may the blessing of earth be upon you, soft under your feet as you pass along the roads, soft as you lie out on it, tired at the end of the day. And may it rest easy over you when at last you lie out under it and your soul returns to the gentle embrace of the earth. And now may the stars and heavens, hills and rivers bless you, and bless you kindly. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us, sister, and for your wonderful words of encouragement to us all here. I know this is your homeland, and for sharing that beautiful blessing for us. And thank you. And I know
Thank you, Max. Thank you, everyone.
I know it's quite late for you, so I hope you rest well tonight.
Thank you ever so much.
So, dear friends, dear siblings, we are going to go straight into a wonderful sharing from Peggy and Larry Ward. Many of you will know them. They're partners in both marriage and work. Larry holds a PhD in religious studies with an emphasis on Buddhism and the neuroscience of meditation. And Peggy holds a doctorate in adult education and counseling psychology with specialist research into dream work. They're celebrated writers, including the book Love's Garden, A Guide to Mindful Relationships. And they're also, of course, Dharma teachers in our Plum Village tradition. They founded the Lotus Institute in 1996, which is an educational non-profit blending Buddhist teachings with science, movement, music, and art. So we're going to hear a lovely sharing from them.
Good day to you. Greetings from the Asheville Zen Women's Temple. We're delighted to join you, and we're on Cherokee land in the United States, and so happy to be celebrating the Being Peace Center in the UK. And wow, this is just wonderful for all of us to know that this is in the works. So thank you for inviting us. We thought we'd do a really short sit and a poem of Larry's that addresses what we see that's going to happen at the center, which is a gathering of the mighty beings that are going to support us all. So for starters, get comfortable. And that might be, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, standing, seated, lying, whatever posture works for you. Our teacher used to call this the chrysanthemum posture. So get that posture. Yeah, and just land right where you are. Aware of the vertical energy that runs through your body, earth to sky. You might notice the lift of your heart. Feeling the earth energy coming in your feet, grounding you, nourishing you, celebrating you. Good. And then the horizontal energy. This connects us with each other, with people, animals, plants, minerals. This is connecting us right now, in this moment. You might feel a little wider at your hips and shoulders. Good. And then noticing the front to back, you might just tip back and forth a little bit. As you tip back, really aware of the back side of your body. Tipping forward a little bit, the front side, and then just find your own plumb line, your own center. Good. Now notice the whole shape of your body right here, right now. And check in Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel present? And if you don't feel any of those, make the adjustment. If you don't feel safe, you can look a little bit to the left and right and really tune in. I am safe. I'm comfortable. Am I comfortable? Ask your body. And listen. What little adjustments will help you feel comfortable? Good. And am I present? Our teacher called this keeping our appointment with life. So now we're going to do just a couple of minutes of silence. When I work with kids, we call this the power sit. So to help yourself ground, really imagine grounding your chair wherever you're seated. Might be ivy vines growing deep into the center of the earth. The vines going through the earth and the stones and the water and the crystals, hooking deep into the earth. Corners of the room, deep into the earth. And notice what you notice as you settle. Does your breath shift? Does your temperature change? Good. So now we're just going to breathe together in silence. We're sitting right with you. You can find your breath or listen to a sound, and this will be about 5 minutes. Steep and soak in the silence. Relax even more. Relax even more. Larry will offer the poem, but keep enjoying your breathing.
A poem for you. Into the circle of all beings we have come, with sunshine, tree, raven, coyote, rabbit, stars, and precious moonlight. May our feet walk gently in the sands of time, echoing purpose, peace, and creative caring throughout this land of green. Beloved community, our heart's greatest desire. It lives in our bones and minds as if a dream deferred. And yet here we are, now touching and being touched by its true presence. Celebrate this moment, this gathering of working dreams. I join my hands and pray that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time rise up from the earth at this precious hour. May these sacred energies bless us with boundless love and awaken within us our very best selves, so that we may sing the songs of men and women who have come through the mist of ignorance. May the cup of compassion within our hearts pour out, covering the whole earth, both near and far. May the nectar of kindness touch our lips as we speak. May we find in ourselves the vast blue sky of inclusiveness, and may our hands turn the wheel of time toward a more just world, a more beautiful world, a world worthy of our holy lives.
So with the next breath coming back, and we thank you for this opportunity to be with you and send our light to all your endeavors. May you keep your good sense of humor. May you keep your patience. All will be well.
Thank you.
How wonderful to hear from our siblings in North America, such wise teachers, and a wonderful, just relaxing and peaceful moment to be together. I love the idea of the horizontal and vertical energies. I really felt that. So, did you feel it, Moonbow? Oh yeah, me too. Okay. So we, Joe, do we have Kathryn Riley available? Is Joe there? Yes, we have.
Yeah, Kathryn coming in. God, we perfectly see, almost seamless. Hi, Kathryn. Good to see you.
Hi, hello. How are you?
We're good here, Kathryn. It's so lovely to meet you. I've never met you before, and how wonderful to meet a new friend online in this auspicious and generous event. And thank you for sharing your time with us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's been beautiful.
So, yeah, Kathryn is a practitioner in the New Forest and also online. Is that correct? Both of those?
Yeah, I have been dabbling online since moving from London, and also during COVID, I was part of the online family Sangha and really enjoyed it. And since moving to the New Forest, I've been having my own sort of family and wellness space as well. And we are very excited, as you all probably heard, to invite all of you to come to the New Forest and have a retreat and have a weekend here camping with some accommodation available. And hopefully after that, we will then unfold a New Forest Sangha. That is the intention. So
wonderful. So can you say a bit about the retreat? We'd love to hear that.
Sure. So I'll tell you a little bit about how it unfolded. So I'm part of a community of parents here which revolves around the local Waldorf school, but also on my property, I have a family wellness space. I have got 4 beautiful yurts that are interconnected, and I have and I offer it out to local facilitators who are interested in creativity and movement, and inviting people of different ages to come and explore wellness for them, and just to come and be in nature and relax and find that sort of stillness and that connection that we all know is so resourcing, because being a parent can be very exhausting when you're working and you're looking after your kids and you're doing pickups and you're doing drop-offs. So I really wanted to offer this space for people to come, and we do crafts, we do teen yoga, we have lots of different activities, a forest choir, and hopefully a lot of you who are coming to the retreat will come and meet us, and we will do some singing together, hopefully, as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful, it's been a beautiful opportunity for my 11 years of practicing with Plum Village and Thai, and having this community come for the first time, who've never ever experienced mindfulness before, come together and share this sort of deep, nourishing practice together. We're very excited.
So amazing. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And Moonbow and I are very upset we're not going to be able to come, because we're actually going to be in Costa Rica, which was planned too long ago. I mean, it will be wonderful, but your space sounds so amazing, and how wonderful to be working with young people, working with families, and incorporating art and music and movement, yoga. Do you want to tell us a bit about your own personal experience with Plum Village practice, and how it impacts, and it has impacted your life?
Sure. I mean, I think I'll focus on the parenting side, because I think that's probably more relevant for this retreat as well. It's a retreat with a children's program, and it's something that we something that I actually was very keen on, because offering that space for parents is really important to me. And I went to Plum Village for the first time in 2011. 2011. And it was 1 year before I had my first child, and I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to experience what it was like to come back to myself before I had kids. So I think the key for me, if I just drop very quickly into why the practice has been so profound for me, is there was this time in my life after having my firstborn where everything was new, and I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down, looking after this precious being that had come into the world. And suddenly there was also lots of chores to do, like laundry and cooking, and not just nourishing myself, but also nourishing my baby and nourishing my partner, and also difficulties with my relationship with my partner, and how to juggle those things. Now we had a third person in our family, in our lives, and living in very busy London as well. And I'd say the practice really established for me the ability to, when I felt overwhelmed and I felt there was just too much demand coming into my space, it really helped me to stop the conversation that I was having with myself, that was, I have to do this, I should do this, and the kind of expectations that I had about being a mother and what a good mother is. And Ty just helped me to, doing the dishes and just taking that space for myself, just that little bit of space away from those conversations that were going into my head about, you've got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep going. And is that really is that really the path that I want to be taking now? And it And then coming back to Heart of London as well, because I was part of Heart of London at that point, coming back every Saturday to have that time to nourish and to create that space for myself, which I didn't feel I could have if I just kept in that mindset of keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. It was just so beautiful. And I remember using the app, the Mindfulness Bell app. And I think before I had kids, I had it on every half an hour. And then after I had my baby, I had it on every 5 minutes. So the bell would go. And I would just remember, okay, stop, breathe, make that little bit of space. And it was such a game changer for me. And I think a lot of the questions that the parents here in my local community New Forest ask is, because a lot of them are in the service profession, so midwives and therapists, full-time parents, is how can I continue to be a positive voice for change? And I think this practice is just perfect to help you touch in and find that source, find that essence for, renewal and freshness and solidity, all those things that Ty talks about. And so that's what I'm so grateful for, and I'm so excited for this retreat.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to come in there and say thank you so much for that. I have to stop you, sisters. I feel like you could probably carry on talking for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say there is a waiting list now. So we have had most of the places filled. But so please, if you are interested, it's the 12th to the 14th of May. I think Sister Samadhi, who is one of the sisters, the monastics that's coming. And so if you are interested, please just put yourself on the waiting list, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kathryn. Just checking with Joe. Is it correct? We're moving on to Charles and Gabi. We're not.
I think that's. Thank you, Max, so much. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Moonbow. Thanks again, Kathryn. That was so wonderful. I think we'll. Just before that, we're going to have a little moment again with Teri reminding us why we're all here and about donating to the Being Peace Practice Centre. That should happen in the next couple of moments. Just until Teri arrives, I'm going to say that we're probably going to run over everyone, which is probably not unexpected at Plum Village events to be a little bit later than usual. So we'll probably go on for about 15 and 20 minutes extra. And I'll tell you what's coming up in the next little while as you stick around for a conversation between Gabi Enash and Charles Eisenstein, and there's a bedtime story by Kyra Duolingo, and a closing meditation by Sibling Young 10. So that'll take us probably until about 10 to 10, something like that. I'm not seeing Teri at the moment, so let's go into the conversation, I think, and then we can take it from there. Yeah, thanks, Max.
Thank you, Joe. So we're next going to listen to a conversation, as Joe said, between Charles Eisenstein and one of our beloved Wake Up siblings, Gabi, here in London. Charles Eisenstein is an American public speaker and author who writes on human civilization, economic spirituality, and ecology. He's the author of many books, including The Ascent of Humanity and Sacred Economics. He graduated from Yale University and then moved to Taiwan, where he worked as a translator, met his partner, and had children. And during his time as a stay-at-home dad, he started having some amazing ideas, and these later became parts of his book. He uses the term interbeing, which many of us know from Plum Village practice, but also non-doing, degrowth, and spiritual activism. He pays tribute to Ty's influence on him in a conversation with Kyra Jewell in a mindfulness bell from the magazine from 2014. And just a brief word about Gabi, who didn't want a long introduction. Gabi is a Wake Up Londoner and is one of the current caretaking team and for the young adult community here in London, and also is a psychologist. So Joe, over to our beautiful conversation.
Hi, Charles. Thank you for joining us today. Charles has kindly agreed to contribute to our fundraiser festival for the Being Peace Project, which is aims to raise funds to actually build a Plum Village community within the UK. So thank you so very much, Charles, for agreeing to be part of it, for contributing and giving so much of yourself and your time. Really appreciate it.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
I'm part of Wake Up London, which is a community of young people that practice meditation in the tradition of Plum Village. And we meet every Saturday and practice together. And a lot of the time, the question that we have is, what makes a community, and how do we build a shared understanding of community? What might be some of its fundamental qualities?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, when you gather for meditation and you sit together, you're actually already building community, because what community is, it is a group of people who know that they need each other in some way. And that could be because you need each other to survive, but it could also be because you need each other to create something together that you could not create on your own. And one of those things, meditation is very different, as I'm sure you know, when you're doing it alone by yourself in a room and when you're doing it with lots of other people. Together, you generate a field and you feel part of something more than just yourself. That is fundamental to community, the feeling that you're part of something more than just yourself. And when you experience that sitting with your group, then it awakens in you the desire for more of that, because you come more fully alive. Because in fact, the separate individual and the whole life surrounding that, and the independence, which depends on money, of that separate individual, that's actually not being fully alive. Life is about relationship. It's about being part of the totality of life. And so you gather with your friends, with your Sangha, to meditate, and you have a taste of that inclusion in a larger self that is not just the separate individual, but it's all of the relationships. In fact, the relationships are more elemental than the individual. And that's really what Thich Nhat Hanh meant by interbeing. That's what that phrase means. It's an understanding not only of interdependence, but of interexistence. You are involved in a peace movement. And this is what this fundraiser is about, peace, which is pretty important in our time right now. That's how I first became attracted to Thich Nhat Hanh. When I read one of his early books, he became known in the United States as in the context of the Vietnam War, as a peace worker. And that's obviously, looking around the world, we're not done with that endeavor to bring peace. So really thank you for being on it.
And I know in your work you talk a little bit about the preciousness of all species and how we all contribute in some way to this world that we are built in. And I guess I also wondered around, do you see community as only referring and referencing human beings? Is it possible to have a community of human beings without taking the larger context in place? Because a lot of the time we talk about humans and human communities as if
I think that there's a useful, the word is useful when you're talking about a human society, but you can certainly expand it to an ecological community, which is woven into the human community. And in the larger community of life, it is also true that we need each other. That's what I said community is. It's that you need each other for something beyond just yourself. And in the case of the ecological community, what we need each other for is life, because life is what creates the conditions for life. And every living being, every species contributes to the aliveness of the whole, not just by being itself, but through its gifts. You take one species away from an ecosystem, and the ecosystem doesn't just become one species poorer. It becomes maybe many other species go extinct too, because there's a cascade. It becomes many species poorer. It becomes much poorer when any species is not available to give its gifts to the whole. And so that's what one way to look at the healing of the human relationship to Earth and the rest of life is to step into the realization that we too are here to contribute to the aliveness of the whole.
How do you see what the role of conflict is in the community, and how do you see it addressed in a way that kind of fits with this new story that we want to be part of, to create?
I could talk about different practices that different communities have to resolve conflict, but there's also another requirement that's not about the structures and the practices, which is that you have to care about something enough to make that ego sacrifice, to get along with people, to let go of the stories of they're the bad guy and I'm the good guy, and then I'm justified and they're inexcusable, and who's on my side and who's on their side. Like, at some point, every group is going to dissolve into infighting if those tendencies are running amok. You have to actually have the motivation to put those dramas aside and say, okay, maybe I am right and they're wrong, but we have to work together, because otherwise we're not going to have, the production will not go on. Once you have a community that has grown around one form of service to life, then you have the structures and the relationships that can be mobilized toward other kinds of service. So a place that has strong communities is going to be much more resilient to challenges. Mm. And when we do not have these structures, these ways of resolving conflicts, these habits of sharing and of collaboration and so forth, it's really hard to get anything done that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And today, what needs to be done, is stopping World War III, bringing peace to places that do not know peace, and restoring the damage to the body of Earth, the waters and the soils and the trees and all of the beings that have been harmed. Like, that's, if we gather in care for those things, then there's almost nothing that we can't achieve. None of the world's problems are technically difficult to solve. They're all caused by our stories and our lack of coherence.
I like
even climate change, most of the cause is actually the destruction of ecosystems. And when people set their minds to healing ecosystems, it's incredible how fast that life is restored.
It's true. Yeah. And we have examples around the world of that happening, even during COVID, in which industries, certain industries, were unable to function.
Right.
And that resurgence of life was amazing in pockets, indeed, but it was an amazing example of that. Yeah. Thank you, Charles, very much for joining us and for sharing on topics that I guess are quite important, given that we want to build a community around the Being Peace Center. Thank you for giving your time, and I guess good luck with everything that you're doing, and that we hope that a lot of people get to hear more about your work and to really get to be part of a community, whatever the communities in service of, as long as it's for the better of the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gabby. Very, very kind of you.
No, did you hear that Mixie talked about the bears? Yeah, not just the humans. Okay. Thank you, Moonbow. Now we will have Teri again, please. I think we can't hear you, Teri. You need to unmute. Wonderful.
Okay. Okay, this is a bit unexpected, which is why I'm in the kitchen now. So yeah, I've been brought back. Dear everyone, I am part of the steering group, as I said earlier, and I kind of noticed all the way through this evening that we're talking about so many things that are going to be absolutely wonderful for our centre to provide. But the fact remains that we need a whole lot of money. And I can't remember anybody actually mentioning that. So I sent a message to Dom, and now he's rung me up and said, well, will you ask for money? I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be the bad cop now amongst all this wonderful stuff. I'm so grateful to have been sharing a stage, as it were, with these people that I've only kind of heard about. But the fact is that, you know, we won't get our centre unless we amass, well, another £1 million at least. And that sounds a lot, but actually it's only, what, 1,000 people giving £1,000 each? It's not that much, but it is a lot to do. And there's so many things you can do. I've been trying to sort of scribble a bit of you know, there must be celebrities out there. You know, you could give us your ideas, and even I remember once helping out with some fundraising by saying to people, can you give up one takeaway coffee every week? And now a takeaway coffee is about, what, £5 or something? Well, if you give up one takeaway coffee a week and put that £5, a regular donation is the very best way to support something, because then every year we know, or well, I want this to happen within a year really, but you know, Sister Annabelle sweetly said once, it could take 100 years, you know. I'm absolutely convinced it's not going to take 100 years, but I do want it to happen in my lifetime if possible. So the best way really is the kind of bottom of a foundation stone, which is a monthly commitment. And then every so often we know exactly how much you need more when you know each year or each month you're going to get this much in, and you can do that for very little. But you know, huge donations would mean there'd be much less work to do on those small things. So, you know, have you got a wealthy aunt or something that's getting on a bit that you could, like, you know, you'd be doing me so much good and good for the world if you could just leave us a few grand in your will, you know? Or do you know, I mean, I was thinking about celebrities. Ruby Wax, you know, she came to one of our seminars once. Doesn't anybody have an in there? But basically give us ideas for that kind of thing, who we could hit for large amounts of money, or loan, even a loan. Those things are so important. And as I say, we won't get there unless we have lots and lots of money. And you, our community and our supporters, are going to have to get active about that. I've made the notes here, but I haven't got my glasses on. Oh yeah, there's a fundraising pack, you see, with lots of ideas on the website now that has been got. Again, I just briefly mentioned volunteers, you know, and people that are doing such a lot of work. I didn't get really time to say thank you to everybody. I just wanted to speak the poem, which is a bit selfish of me, I know, but yeah, and every single donation, whether it's tiny amount every month or a huge gift, they're all equally important. They're all so important. And I loved what Sister Gina said about making sure that, you know, we get Sangha eyes on things, because that's what we did, you know, a couple of years ago, or even last year it was. So I know we're on the right track, but yes, we need love. Yes, we need hope. Yes, we need trust. Yes, we need community. And yes, we need lots of money. So please, in whatever way you can, do help us get there. Do help us get there. And we're going to have a helpline as well. Dominic and Teresa and I meet regularly about ideas for fundraising. And we thought a kind of dedicated Calendly thing going on where people can get a one-to-one chat. Well, I've got this idea, but I don't know what to do about it. You know, I've got a few ideas and I've got no idea what to do about them. I don't have any money, but I have ideas. And I'd love to hear yours. But even more, I'd like to see your money coming in. So
thank you, Teri.
Good night from the kitchen on the cliff top. And thank you for allowing me to come back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Teri. That was yep, excellent. It's really good to keep that in mind. So everyone, the links are there, links in the chat, and get in touch with the team with your ideas. Yeah. Max, we've got a couple more things for everyone.
And,
we're moving into the quieter time now. We have a bedtime story by Kyra Jewel and a finishing meditation by Sibling Yongten. It's going to run up to 10 o'clock, I reckon. If you want to stay with us, we'll be here till 10. So yeah, over to you, Max.
Thank you. And Teri's being our sister Chen Kong. If you ever go to Plum Village and she's around, she's always fundraising for some project. So thank you, Teri, for the very grounded reality of money needed. So we're going to have a story from our beloved sister Kyra Jewel. She's been practicing mindfulness since 1997. She lived as an ordained nun for 15 years in Plum Village and now is based in New York, teaching both Buddhist meditation and secular mindfulness and compassion internationally. Her practice is based in both the Zen lineage and the Vipassana tradition. And she teaches and practices at the intersection of racial, climate, and social justice with a focus on activists, Black, Indigenous, people of color, artists, educators, families, and youth. She also offers spiritual mentoring to both individuals and groups. And she's very known within our community for her love of play and dance. She's the author of We Were Made for These Times, skillfully moving through change, love, and disruption. So we will now have a beautiful, soothing story by our sister.
Dear Sangha, I'm very happy to be joining your fundraiser for the Being Peace Retreat Center in the UK. This is such a wonderful project and one that is so needed. And I do hope to visit this center one day when it's built, when it's ready. And I hope we can all support this center coming into being in whatever ways we are able to. I know that this will be towards the end of your evening, and so I thought instead of a meditation, I would read to you a short story from Ty's book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. It's the Emperor's 3 Questions story from Tolstoy, which I think will be a helpful guide for us in creating this new center and being as present as we can for each other in the process of doing so. So You can lie back and get comfortable under a blanket or with a pillow or a teddy bear, however you want to listen to this little story. So this is from the last chapter of Ty's book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. To end, let me retell a short story of Tolstoy's, the story of the Emperor's 3 questions. Tolstoy did not know the Emperor's name. One day, it occurred to a certain emperor that if he only knew the answers to 3 questions, he would never stray in any matter. What is the best time to do each thing? Who are the most important people to work with? What is the most important thing to do at all times? The emperor issued a decree throughout his kingdom, announcing that whoever could answer the questions would receive a great reward. Many who read the decree made their way to the palace at once, each person with a different answer. In reply to the first question, one person advised that the emperor make up a thorough time schedule, consecrating every hour, day, month, and year for certain tasks, and then follow the schedule to the letter. Only then could he hope to do every task at the right time. Another person replied that it was impossible to plan in advance, and that the emperor should put all vain amusements aside and remain attentive to everything in order to know what to do at what time. Someone else insisted that, by himself, the emperor could never hope to have all the foresight and competence necessary to decide when to do each and every task, and what he really needed was to set up a council of the wise, and then to act according to their advice. Someone else said that certain matters required immediate decision and could not wait for consultation, but if he wanted to know in advance what was going to happen, he should consult magicians and soothsayers. The responses to the second question also lacked accord. One person said that the emperor needed to place all his trust in administrators. Another urged reliance on priests and monks, while others recommended physicians. Still others put their faith in warriors. The third question drew a similar variety of answers. Some said science was the most important pursuit, others insisted on religion, yet others claimed the most important thing was military skill. The emperor was not pleased with any of the answers, and no reward was given. After several nights of reflection, the emperor resolved to visit a hermit who lived up on the mountain and was said to be an enlightened man. The emperor wished to find the hermit to ask him the 3 questions, though he knew the hermit never left the mountains and was known to receive only the poor, refusing to have anything to do with persons of wealth or power. So the emperor disguised himself as a simple peasant and ordered his attendants to wait for him at the foot of the mountain, while he climbed the slope alone to seek the hermit. Reaching the holy man's dwelling place, the emperor found the hermit digging a garden in front of his hut. When the hermit saw the stranger, he nodded his head in greeting and continued to dig. The labor was obviously hard on him. He was an old man, and each time he thrust his spade into the ground to turn the earth, he heaved heavily. The emperor approached him and said, "I have come here to ask your help with 3 questions. When is the best time to do each thing? Who are the most important people to work with? What is the most important thing to do at all times?" The hermit listened attentively, but only patted the emperor on the shoulder and continued digging. The emperor said, "You must be tired. Here, let me give you a hand with that." The hermit thanked him, handed the emperor the spade, and then sat down on the ground to rest. After he had dug 2 rows, the emperor stopped and turned to the hermit and repeated his 3 questions. The hermit still did not answer, but instead stood up and pointed to the spade and said, "Why don't you rest now? I can take over again." But the emperor continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then 2. Finally, the sun began to set behind the mountain. The emperor put down the spade and said to the hermit, "I came here to ask if you could answer my 3 questions, but if you can't give me any answer, please let me know so that I can get on my way home." The hermit lifted his head and asked the emperor, "Do you hear someone running over there?" The emperor turned his head. They both saw a man with a long white beard emerge from the woods. He ran wildly, pressing his hands against a bloody wound in his stomach. The man ran toward the emperor before falling unconscious on the ground where he lay groaning. Opening the man's clothing, the emperor and the hermit saw that the man had received a deep gash. The emperor cleaned the wound thoroughly and then used his own shirt to bandage it, but the blood completely soaked it within minutes. He rinsed the shirt out and bandaged the wound a second time and continued to do so until the flow of blood had stopped. At last, the wounded man regained consciousness and asked for a drink of water. The emperor ran down to the stream and brought back a jug of fresh water. Meanwhile, the sun had disappeared and the night air had begun to turn cold. The hermit gave the emperor a hand in carrying the man into the hut, where they laid him down on the hermit's bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quietly. The emperor was worn out from a long day of climbing the mountain and digging the garden. Leaning against the doorway, he fell asleep. When he rose, the sun had already risen over the mountain. For a moment, he forgot where he was and what he had come here for. He looked over to the bed and saw the wounded man also looking around him in confusion. When he saw the emperor, he stared at him intently and then said in a faint whisper, "Please forgive me." "But what have you done that I should forgive you?" the emperor asked. "You do not know me, your majesty, but I know you. I was your sworn enemy, and I had vowed to take vengeance on you, for during the last war you killed my brother and seized my property. When I learned that you were coming alone to the mountain to meet the hermit, I resolved to surprise you on your way back and kill you. But after waiting a long time, there was still no sign of you, and so I left my ambush in order to seek you out. But instead of finding you, I came across your attendants, who recognized me, giving me this wound. Luckily, I escaped and ran here. If I hadn't met you, I would surely be dead by now. I had intended to kill you, but instead you saved my life. I am ashamed and grateful beyond words. If I live, I vow to be your servant for the rest of my life, and I will bid my children and grandchildren to do the same. Please grant me your forgiveness." The emperor was overjoyed to see that he was so easily reconciled with a former enemy. He not only forgave the man, but promised to return all the man's property and to send his own physician and servants to wait on the man until he was completely healed. After ordering his attendants to take the man home, the emperor returned to see the hermit. Before returning to the palace, the emperor wanted to repeat his 3 questions one last time. He found the hermit sowing seeds in the earth that they had dug the day before. The hermit stood up and looked at the emperor. "But your questions have already been answered." "How's that?" the emperor asked, puzzled. "Yesterday, if you had not taken pity on my age and given me a hand with digging these beds, you would have been attacked by that man on your way home. Then you would have deeply regretted not staying with me. Therefore, the most important time was the time you were digging in the beds. The most important person was myself, and the most important pursuit was to help me. Later, when the wounded man ran up here, the most important time was the time you spent dressing his wound, for if you had not cared for him, he would have died, and you would have lost the chance to be reconciled with him. Likewise, he was the most important person, and the most important pursuit was taking care of his wound. Remember that there is only one important time, and that is now. The present moment is the only time over which we have dominion. The most important person is always the person you are with, who is right before you, or who knows if you will have dealings with any other person in the future. The most important pursuit is making the person stand. The most important pursuit is making the person standing at your side happy, for that alone is the pursuit of life. I finishes saying Tolstoy's story is like a story out of scripture. It doesn't fall short of any sacred text. Dear friends, thank you so much for the chance to join you in this small way, and sending all my support and love and respect and care to everyone in the UK Sangha, helping to manifest this important center for all beings.
What a beautiful story, and the beautiful, soothing and sweet voice of our sister Kyra Jewel. So dear friends, we're almost at the end of our beautiful evening together, and I hope you've been nourished deeply by all of these sharings. And as Teri has reminded us, if we can dig deep in our pockets within our means to share generosity for this beautiful vision. And in closing, we have a meditation by sibling Yonten, who goes by the pronouns they, them. They are a self-ordained Buddhist monastic from 2017, whose root traditions are in the Tibetan Kagyu lineage from 2008. Their experience of walking on the Buddha's path started in 1999, when they attended a 3-day teaching in London offered by the Dalai Lama. From 2013, they have been following the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh and the Plum Village tradition. They are neurodiverse and also a disabled person, a military veteran, and part of the LGBTQIA+ community. And they are also the representative for Plum Village UK's newly forming Inclusion Circle for Disability and Neurodiversity. So please enjoy a meditation. Oh yeah, and I'm a binary like me. Okay. Thank you.
Dear Ty, dear beloved Being Peace Sangha and community, thank you for this opportunity this evening to offer a short meditation. I shall give a short self-description now. I'm a person in a male body of 53 years old. I have a white complexion. I wear black-rimmed glasses with a shaved head and shaved face. I wear brown monastic robes, and I'm seated in front of a deep red curtain behind me. So I invite you now to come back to a place of stillness, that place of comfort, familiarity, your preferred meditation position, whatever that may mean for you. Seated on the floor, on a cushion or on a stool. You may be seated on a chair that has legs or with wheels, or you may be lying down. Whichever position we find ourselves in, if we can keep as straight a spine as is comfortable to do so. And also throughout the meditation, you may wish to close your eyes if it is safe and also comfortable for you to do, or you may just like to offer a soft gaze in front of you. So as we slowly draw our attention further inwards, just resting it upon the natural rhythm of our breath. Just as the morning mist caresses the valley floor, we rest our attention on the natural rhythm of our breath, of our breathing pattern. I shall invite 3 sounds of a large bell to begin the meditation. And I shall offer a countdown, transitional countdown, around 4 minutes towards the end. And then we shall transition out of the meditation with 2 sounds of the large bell. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I rest my attention upon my body. Breathing out, I calm any movements in my body. Attention on body, calming body. Breathing in, I rest my attention upon my mind. Breathing out, I calm my mind. Attention on mind, calming mind. Breathing in, I recognize that mind and body inter are. Breathing out, I'm aware that consciousness of mind and body inter is. Mind and body inter are. Consciousness of mind and body inter is. Breathing in, I'm aware of the inclusive nature of mind and body. Breathing out, I recognize inclusiveness of consciousness. Inclusiveness of mind and body. Consciousness inclusive. Breathing in, I see that mind, body, and consciousness supporting each other. Breathing out, recognizing that I inter-am with all beings, supporting each other, inter-am with all. Breathing in, I vow to offer support to all beings. Breathing out, vowing to offer inclusiveness to all beings. Supporting all beings, inclusiveness for all. Two-minute transitional countdown. Breathing in, I feel solid in the present moment. Breathing out, feeling inclusive in this wonderful moment. Solidity in present moment, inclusive in this wonderful moment. So dear friends, as we transition out of the guided meditation, I invite you to bring some gentle movement into the body, relieving any pressure that may have built up in our legs, in our arms, within our joints. So dear friends, I hope that you have the opportunity to water your seeds of happiness, joy, peace, and inclusivity through your coming days. Be well, dear friends.
So, dear friends, this brings us to the end of our evening, and I'd like to express gratitude to everyone who's made this possible, all the hard work behind the scenes. Please visit plumvillage.uk Being Peace, / Being Peace, to contribute ideas, get in touch about the one-to-one sessions, and of course to donate money. For more getting involved in the Being Peace Sangha Practice Center team, see Plum Village UK events. The next one is on the 9th of April. To watch this again, see the Plum Village UK, PV UK YouTube channel, where there will also be some extra offerings that didn't fit in our even overrunning evening, from Brother Phap and Joe Confino, Martha Tilston, the singer-songwriter, and Betsy Rose, also a magnificent singer-songwriter. All donations are encouraged and welcome, and Moonbow and I wish you a good night and rest well.
Dear friends, we'll end with the sound of the bell, and then we'll have a little bit of music to play us out with. Hearing this all evening. This is Still by Melissa James.
When the night is drawing to a close and the morning light in the sky takes hold, I see the moon against the blue rest lightly. When the sun is shining clear and bright and the evening sky is a fiery sight, I like to let the moments glow wash over me. standing still. When the birds are singing in the trees and they're building homes among the leaves, I like to watch, blessed by the breeze. It soothes me. When the blades of grass are growing strong and green, and the fields stretch wide and far afield, this is where I stand, allow myself to breathe deeply. Oh, such beauty to be seen when you're standing still. Oh, such beauty to be seen, even on the days when the frost takes a